Hey guys, welcome back to Fidget Lover 103. Today I'm going to be reading the part 2 of the book. I don't know, it doesn't say the chapter. Well, if I go back and look into the YouTube, we can go look. Chapter 2. Hold on. Let me also check in the book. So that's the start of chapter 3. Let me fix it. I don't need to do that. But I'm sorry I haven't been posting this. I forgot about this channel for a bit. Okay, there. So, let's get started. Let's see, what page are we going to end off at? So where it says the part 2, that will be the okay. So where do we leave off? Okay. Francis Stewart, if you won't come down here like a man, hush. Uncle Jimmy's defecation caused not a ripple on Alexandra's bland horizon. Her missionary society refreshments were still the best in town. Her activities in Macomb's 3. Look. What page am I leaving off at again? Wait, I think I read this one. Hold on. Alexandra ever pressed Jean Louise's vulnerable points with awareness? She could have added another scalp to her belt, but after years of technical study, Jean Louise knew her enemy. Although she could rout her, Jean Louise had not yet learned how to repair the enemy's damage. The last time she skirmished with Alexandra was when her brother died. After Jem's funeral, they were in the kitchen cleaning up the remains of the tribal banquets that are a part of dying in Macomb. Calpurnia the Finch's old cook had run off the place and not come back. When she learned of Jem's death, Alexandra attacked like Hannibal. I do think, Jean Louise, that now is the time for you to come home for good. Your father needs you some. From long experience, Jean Louise bristled immediately. You lie, she thought. If Atticus needed me, I would know it. I can't make you understand. Girl, no. Girl, be quiet. Understand how I'd know it because I can't get through to you. Need me? She said. Yes, dear. Surely you understand that. I shouldn't have to tell you. Tell me, settle me. There you go. Wadding in your clodhoppers to our private territory. Why he and I don't even talk about it? Auntie, if Atticus needs me, you know I'll stay. Right now he needs me like a hole in the head. We'd be miserable here in the house together. He knows it, I know it. Don't you see that we go back to what we were doing before this happened? Our recovery will be slower. Auntie, I can't make you understand, but truly, the only way I can do my duty to Atticus is by doing what I'm doing, making my own living on my own life. The only time Atticus will need me is when his health fails, and I don't have to tell you what I do when done. Don't you see? No, she didn't. Alexandra saw what Maycomb saw. Maycomb expected every daughter to do her duty. The duty of his only daughter to her widowed father after the death of his only son was clear. Jean Louise would return to make her home with Atticus. That was what a daughter did, and she who did not know was no daughter. You can get a job at the bank and go to the coast on weekends. There's a cute crowd in Maycomb now, lots of young people. You like to paint, don't you? I like to paint. What the hell Alexandra think she was doing with her evenings in New York? The same as Cousin Edgar, probably. Art Students League every weeknight at 8. Young ladies sketched, the watercolors wrote short paragraphs of imaginative prose. To Alexandra, there was a distinct and distasteful difference between one who paints and a painter, one who writes and a writer. There are a lot of pretty views on the coast, and you'll have weekends free. Jehovah, she catches me when I'm nearly out of my mind and lays out the avenues of my life. How can she be his sister and not have the slightest idea what goes on in his head? My head? Anybody's head? Oh Lord, why didn't you give us tongues to explain to Aunt Alexandra? Auntie, it's easy to tell somebody what to do, but very hard to make them do it. That's the cause of most trouble in this world. People not doing as they're told. It was decided upon definitely. Jean Louise would stay home. Alexandra would tell Atticus, and it would make him the happiest man in the world. Auntie, I'm not staying home, and if I did, Atticus would be the saddest man in the world. But don't worry, Atticus understands perfectly, and I'm sure once you get started, you'll make him understand. The knife hit deep, suddenly. Jean Louise, your brother worried about your thoughtfulness until the day he died. It was raining softly on his grave now. In the hot evening, you have never said it. You never even thought it. If you thought it, you'd have said it. You were like that. Well, Jem. She rubbed salt into it. I'm thoughtful, thoughtless, all right? Selfish, self-willed. I eat too much, and I feel like the Book of Common Prayer. Lord, forgive me for not doing what I should have done, and for doing what I should have done. Oh, hell. She returned to New York with a throbbing conscience not even Atticus could ease. This was 2 years ago, and Jean Louise had long since quit worrying about how thoughtless she was, and Alexandra had disarmed her by performing the one generous act of Alexandra's life. When Atticus developed arthritis, Alexandra went to live with him. Jean Louise was humble with gratitude. Had Atticus known for the secret decision between his sister and his daughter, he would have never forgotten them. He did not need anyone, but it was an excellent idea to have someone around to keep an eye on him. Button his shirts when his hands were useless and run his house. Calpurnia had done it until 6 months ago, but she was so old, Atticus did more housekeeping than she, and she would return to the quarters in honorable retirement. I'll do those, Auntie, Jean Louise said. When Alexandra collected the coffee cups, she rose and stretched. You get sleepier when it's like this, just like these few cups, said Alexandra. I can do them in a minute. You stay where you are. Jean Louise stayed where she was and looked around the living room. The old furniture sat well in the house. She glanced toward the dining room and saw on the sideboard her mother's heavy silver water pitcher, goblets and trays shining against the soft green wall. He's an incredible man, she thought. A chapter of his old life comes to a close. Atticus tears down the old house and builds a new one in a new section of town. I couldn't do it. They built an ice cream parlor where the old one was. One second. Sorry guys, one moment. Hold on, let's see how many people left. Okay. Where was I? Somewhere here. He's an incredible man, she thought. A chapter of his life comes to a close. Atticus tears down the old house and builds a new one in a section of town. I couldn't do it. They built an ice cream parlor where the old one was. Wonder who ruins it? She went to the kitchen. Well, how's New York? Said Alexandra. Want another cup before I throw this out? Yes, please. Oh, by the way, I'm giving a coffee for you Monday morning. Auntie, Jean Louise groaned. Coffees were peculiarly convenient in nature. They were given for girls who came home. Such girls were placed on view at 10:30 a.m. for the express purpose of allowing the women of their age who had remained annulled in Macomb to examine them. Childhood friendships are rarely renewed under such conditions. Jean Louise had lost touch with nearly everyone she grew up with and did not wish to particularly to rediscover the companions of her adolescence. Her school days were most miserable days. She was unsentimental to the point of callousness about the women's college she had attended. Nothing displeased her more than to be set in the middle of a group of people who played Remember Old So and So. I found the prospect of a coffee infinitely horrifying, she said, but I'd love one. I thought you would, dear. A pang of tenderness swept over her. She would never be able to thank Alexandra enough for coming to stay with Atticus. She considered herself a heel for ever having been sarcastic to her aunt, who in spite of her corsets had a certain defenselessness plus a certain finesse Jean Louise would never have. She is the last of her kind, she thought. No words had ever touched her. And she had lived through 3. Nothing had disturbed that world of hers, where gentlemen smoked on the porch or in hammocks, where ladies fanned themselves gently and drank cool water. How's Hank doing? He's doing beautifully, hon. You know, he was He was made Man of the Year by the Kiwanis Club. They gave him a lovely scroll. No, I didn't. Man of the Year by the Kiwanis Club. A post-war Maycomb innovation usually meant young man going places. Atticus was so proud of him. Atticus says he doesn't know the meaning of the word contract yet, but he's doing fine with taxation. Jean Louise grinned. Her father said it took at least 5 years to learn law. After one left law school, one practiced economy for 2 years, learned Alabama pleading for 2 more, reread the Bible and Shakespeare for the 5th. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Bye, everybody. I'll start posting more often, hopefully.